Danish chapter, which was created during the elections, the campaigns for 2021. I appreciate the Danish community. I appreciate the Danish committee headed by Henry. Thank you so much for the contribution during the elections for our president. You really contributed a lot. We couldn't sleep. Thank you for all the time and all the money that we collected during our president's elections in 2021. What else can I say? Yes, they have said it all. Everybody said it all. The first speakers, they said everything. I just want to recognize what the Committee of Denmark did during the elections and after the elections in 2021 up to today. They were running activities like mobilization of the community, holding meetings, and mostly also organizing demonstrations and the strongly online presence. I would like to thank Dr. Nico. Thank you for pushing for all this. He created a group, the Danish group. Let's clap for Dr. Nico's honorable. Yes, during the campaigns in 2021, they fundraised for MPs during the nominations because our MPs needed money. Most of them were not working. We would not sleep, as Henry said. We would call upon all members and Ugandans all over the world. We are many. So they were helping with money for nominations in Uganda. You would get a call, we need this money. The MP doesn't have money for nominations. Also helping comrades who are hurt. Up to now, we are still doing that. Mr. President, we are doing that. The welfare, we still help. Though Mr. President stopped, but I think he will talk about it later. But we still help our comrades, a few, with the little we have. I really want to thank you, and I request the President to listen to the concerns of the Danish community, to the European community, like all other chapters. Mr. President, they need motivation by you. We thank you for being here, and I also want to acknowledge and to thank all comrades who came from far, Sweden, Denmark. We came from the Netherlands. With that, I would like to invite Mr. President. People power. People power. Our power.
Thank you. Thank you. Nze mbasaba tube mu gwange tonaye nga tulowooza ng'abakulu twewale n'okuyiga obuyisa bw'abo abafuzi abajjudde omululu tuteme n'empende empya ezikuza eggwanga erijjudde amabavu saba twejjukize emitima ffe Uganda ne Uganda gamba munno akuliranye nti ffe Uganda ne Uganda Chidemo chimugambe fe Uganda ne Uganda yefe. We are the country, we are the future, we are the change we badly need. We are the youngest population in the world, we stand a chance. We are the leaders of the future, and the future is today. If we only come together, we can change our destiny. People power!
Our power!
Our power!
People power!
Thank you. Please take your seats, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's right, baby. People power! Our power! People power! Yeah, that's my boy right there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to be here with you. Very glad. I thank you, Comrade Susan, our youth coordinator. That was very brief. No sooner had you started speaking than you invited me. But I'm glad to be here. Dr. Nico, please know we appreciate you and all of you, the friends of Uganda, who took over our responsibility as if it's your own. Please know we appreciate the people of Uganda, appreciate. My brother, Comrade Henry, thank you for the work that you do. Thank you very much. My brother Aligo, we appreciate the inspiration and the representation. Not so many Ugandans are in mainstream leadership here, but that's who we are. That's what we're made of. Thank you for showing what we're made of. Our brothers and sisters from Action Aid and all other friends of Uganda, like I said, we appreciate you. We bring love, we bring greetings, we bring solidness and solidarity and hope from the people of Uganda, the powerful people of Uganda, the resilient people of Uganda, the never giving up people of Uganda. We thank you very much for being here today. I want to thank you in a very special way, ladies and gentlemen. I know your time is very important. You guys that live in fast-running worlds. Here in the first world, that's when you come face to face with the realization that actually time is money. So thank you for your money. Thank you for being here. I want to thank you in a special way. I've never addressed you and thanked you specifically for the support you gave to us. The last time many of you saw me, I was an artist, singing and dancing. And then I came to you and told you guys, we have a problem back home. And I'm cutting off my dreadlocks and changing my dress code and facing the dictator. You stood with me. You sponsored our presidential campaign to the T. We never lacked anything in the campaigns. It is you, ladies and gentlemen. Museveni likes to say, oh, Bobi Wine is sponsored by white people. He's sponsored by colonialists. He's sponsored by homosexuals. He's sponsored by foreigners. Well, I'm here to remind Museveni that you, the common people of Uganda, that earn not so much compared to what he steals from our country. You are the guys that sponsor our struggle back home. We salute you. Thank you very much. Nubian and I did not come for this specific engagement. We were invited to attend the Copenhagen Democracy Summit, which is happening on Monday. And we decided to grab this opportunity and engage with you, fellow Ugandans. Why? Because we are accountable to you. Because when we were here, we presented an idea to you, an idea of servant and answerable leadership. So we're here, most importantly, to engage with you, to give you an update, because we serve on your behalf. Everything that I say, I do on your behalf. So it's important that we give you a report whenever we can. And also to get this opportunity, you know, I no longer take things for granted. We can't have this at home. So we chose to engage with you. I know if it was a music show, this room would be too small for us. And maybe because of our musical background, that's why we've been able to get that attention. It explains why many times I start my communication with a song to pique your interest. Not so many of our people, unfortunately, are interested in the transformation of our country. Actually, many of them don't know that they are slaves in their own country. They don't know. And there's a big effort by the rulers back home to make sure our people remain blind. So for the few of you that have come not to dance and sing, not to share a light moment, but to talk about these annoying facts, these hard facts, these uncomfortable facts, I salute you. I know many of you have come from as far as outside Denmark. I saw one of my sisters yesterday, a young lady who's supposed to be taking selfies and on Instagram. She traveled so many miles to come and listen to us. My sister, you know yourself, please know that I salute you very much. This is very encouraging. And like Comrade Nubian said, to see that you even bring your children. This is intergenerational. We are doing this because our fathers and mothers did not do it. Or maybe if they did it, they didn't succeed. That's why we are faced with this. We are doomed to do this. Guys, I would prefer seeing you only when I'm performing to you. I would prefer seeing you when you've actually paid at the entrance. But that's not the case, because we have a big problem back home and everybody's involvement matters. That's why Nubian and I decided to put our music industry, our music trade on the side. We know how influential it is. That's why our music was banned back home. It can't play on TV. We cannot host shows because those that rule over us want to keep our people blind. So thank you for coming. But now that we are here, friends, now that I have a rare opportunity to have a meeting without an expectation of tear gas outside the room, without expecting the army or military to walk in and arrest everybody, let me say this to you. Number one, there's so many questions that we have. I know most of the things we talk about, you see them every day. You guys have free internet, unlike us. Almost free. Thank you very much. But I mean, to access the internet is one thing, but to have the right to use it is another. Back home we have neither. But now that we are here, number one, I want to update you about, what's happening home. In this, our engagement, in the few hours that we're together, I had intended mainly to hear from you and also to take your questions, because there I'll discuss them with my team, and the next time I speak, I want you to feel represented. I want you to hear yourself speaking through me. But I'll also tell you this, friends. Uganda continues to sink. I don't want to depress you, talk about the torture that is ongoing back home. I don't want to depress you by talking about the abductions. I don't want to depress you by reminding you of our people that are being killed every day. Not only those that are against the regime, but even those that are pro-regime. A few days ago, you saw one of the bloggers that left Scandinavia to come back to Uganda because they believe that when you side with the dictator, you're safe. Nobody is safe. Just a few hours ago, another Indian investor was killed. So for us, that's not news anymore. I'm sure many of you have seen on the internet how our infrastructure is washed away. Now our country is divided into two. You cannot access the western part of Uganda. You cannot access Masaka because the singular road that was connecting that part to the country is washed away by the rain. You know, we live in a country where the healthcare system is sick itself. In a situation where children study, but after 7 years of study in a primary school, a child cannot write their own name. We live in a country where not the ordinary laborers, but the vice president, the prime minister, the speaker of parliament, the minister for finance, minister for ethics and integrity are stealing from the poorest of the poor. Not money, but something as silly as iron sheets. It would be funny if it was not sad. But that's the country where we are. Where there's a fallacy of democracy, that international community and international development partners are going to fund so much, but a person that nominates me for president has to go to prison for 7 months. Why? Because he nominated his friend for president. So, that being the way it is, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we can go on and on and on about how sick our country is. There's a scandal every day. But we refuse to gravitate towards fear. There's fear and there's hope. We choose hope. So, in my communication to you, before I take your questions, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you only hopeful thoughts. Number one, I want to encourage you, friends, that we are winning. As a matter of fact, we won.
Yes, we did.
In an election, we beat Museveni. You see this guy talking to you right here. This is the guy who beat General Museveni. So for those of you who last saw me when I was just Bobi Wine, you're looking at the president of Uganda. So later on, after this engagement, you better talk to me nicely. Jokes aside, ladies and gentlemen, there's everything to be hopeful about. One, we were able to expose the regime. Even these, our brothers and sisters, the friends of Uganda, and those that are relating with Uganda from a diplomatic front, they know that Museveni is illegitimate. We've said it many times to the United States. I was there 2 weeks ago, just under 2 weeks ago, and I told them that they are dealing with a criminal. I have spoken on every platform that I get opportunity to speak on and tell them that they are dealing with a criminal, with a terrorist. And we continue to expose that because it is when you expose a vice that you're going to defeat it. Slavery lasted 400 years ago until it was thoroughly exposed. That's when slavery was defeated. Colonialism and manipulation and exploitation lasted close to 100 years. But until it was exposed thoroughly, that is when it was defeated. Racism, it remains in many areas, but whenever you shine a light on racism, racism either disappears or is crushed. That is the only way we're going to deal with dictatorship. Expose, 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 and look them in the eyes, because these are democracies. Denmark is a democracy. America is a democracy. Apart from maybe Russia and Belarus, Europe is largely a democracy. And we relate as members of the international community. It's not love, it's not just music that connects us. It is values of democracy, respect for the rule of law, respect for human rights. Now, we come to these countries to look them in the eyes and say, you guys talk about human rights, you talk about democracy, you talk about respect for the rule of law, but you are sponsoring a dictator. You are sponsoring a dictator. You're sponsoring somebody that has no respect for the rule of law whatsoever. You're lecturing us about human rights, but you're sponsoring a terrorist. On the 18th and 19th of November 2020, more than 200 people were killed on the streets as cameras from BBC, CNN, and other international media were watching. Nobody has been held accountable. But General Museveni, because he banks on our religious background, every now and then, every time he loses support back home, he pulls out the anti-homosexuality bill and puts it there to divert attention and to choose for us a front. And I get very disturbed by the international community that unlike all other rights, it's only the gay rights that are looked at as only important rights. Why are other rights not respected equally if all human rights are human rights? So to the international community, while you ban, while you remove aid because of respect of because of the violation of the rights of the minorities, it would be nice to see you also withhold aid because the right to life is violated, because the rights of women are violated. And then we will be consistent and be able to say that all human rights are human rights. We have been consistent and we have told the people of Uganda not to be diverted by Museveni and his tricks that he always play. And we've also called upon the international community to either say all human rights are human rights, or be honest and say when it comes to Africa, the consistency drops. I personally traveled to Ukraine to assert it that we, the people of Africa, are not towing the line of the dictators of Africa who support Russia when they invade an independent country. But again, we want to say that while we respect the rights to life of the people of Ukraine, the people of Sudan are also human beings. The people of Congo are also human beings. And most importantly, the people of Uganda, where I come from, are also human beings. So briefly, fellow Ugandans, this and more is the message that we bring to the international community. They have the power to stop this because they are sponsoring it in the first place. During the campaigns, I remember one of the cars that ran over my comrade and crushed him was written on Danish aid, was written on Dutch aid. But the cars written on Danish aid and are carrying hooligans under the protection of government. We have brand new American guns, brand new, trucks given by the EU, being used to crush people, to run over children, to kill them. If you are not partners in crime, what does that make you? So, brothers and sisters, I could go on and on and on and on, but like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm lamenting. I just want to suggest a few thoughts and also give you an update of how far we are. I'm glad to inform you that with the help of the Friends of Uganda, we were able to file a case in the International Criminal Court against General Museveni, his son, and all the criminals, the armed criminals around him. And I am confident that if justice prevails in this world that we live on, one day you're going to see Museveni answering in the dock of the International Criminal Court. What am I asking of you, fellow Ugandans and the Friends of Uganda? Number one, I want to ask you to be alert, to keep in touch with what's happening back home. Please don't get tired of Uganda. I know it's so depressing that you can very easily say, man, I don't want to hear about Uganda. Many of my friends have given up about Uganda. Don't give up about Uganda. You will never be Danish. you will not. You might be a citizen, but trust me, you will die and they will bury you back in Uganda. So don't turn Uganda into a cemetery. Okay, if you don't want to come back, turn it into a nice cemetery. So, please keep your heart and your mind back home. Secondly, please unite. We have our differences. Tribe, religion, thought line, worldview. But at the end of the day, in a sinking ship, there are no winners. We were told by Dr. Martin Luther King that we either win together as brothers and sisters or lose together as fools. We have a choice. I would rather we win because every, sign points at winning. I want to ask you to continue being proactive. This alone is testimony that you are concerned about our country. But there's much more that you can do than just attend here. Use your social media. Use your social media to continue amplifying the calls back home. Use it while it's still safe. Like Brother Nubian has said, back in Uganda, it's dangerous, but we still do it anyway. But here, you have the right. Use them, share the details about things that are going on home. Or tweet or post about them and tag the authorities. Like I said, exposure is a very dangerous weapon against oppression because they will lose contact. We want to ensure that everybody looks at the evil that General Museveni is for what it is. It is very depressing for the people of Uganda to be oppressed, and then General Museveni will be seen shoulder to shoulder standing with leaders of democracies. But many of them won't know, because as you know, Museveni controls the national budget. So he spends billions of taxpayers' money to paint a rosy picture about Uganda. There are many marketing agencies that paint a good picture about Uganda. So you need to counter them with the truth, because they're spreading lies about Uganda. Fake numbers of economic development. Fake. They don't reflect on the ground. But it's you, it's going to take you. So kindly share all those and tag the leaders here. I want to ask specifically for those of you that are already citizens of here. You can knock the doors of your legislators. You can reach out to your government through your elected leaders and ask them to change their policies, to rethink their policies with Uganda. That is possible because, these are the countries that lend Uganda money. They don't lend Museveni. They lend it to you. Even if it's Museveni that uses it, you are the one who's going to pay that money, and your children and your children's children. So better start considering it your own money. There's one very important thing that I want to remind you of, ladies and gentlemen. I am here, alive and able to speak to you because I was saved by you. In 2018, I was abducted by Museveni's army, commanded by his son, tortured so badly, and I was to be killed. But Ugandans across the world rose to the occasion, protested, and created a scene internationally. And General Museveni had no option but to free me. Today, he's holding hundreds, if not thousands, of my colleagues illegally. And that is why I can never rest, because I owe it to them. Today, on this t-shirt that you see, this is a young man called Machete. This is a young lady called Olivia Rutaya. And this is a young man called Kalanzi. All these were abducted, tortured in the most gross manner, and thrown into military prison. Today is 2 years and counting. They are still there. What is their crime? Supporting me when I stood for president. So we owe it to these owe it to the future generations. We owe it to the world, because I know as Uganda, many other oppressed countries are looking at us. If we free ourselves, man, those other people will be able to free themselves. So let's push and push and push. Finally, friends, after talking about the demonstration and how important they are, very, very important. If you doubt the power of demonstrations, look at me, I'm alive because of the protests and demonstrations. You remember that when the European Union Parliament suspended the construction of the pipeline that was supposed to transport our fuel to Tanzania, General Museveni pulled our children out of school and ensured that they staged a protest for him. So protests work. Please engage in them. They work. Finally, and very finally, like I said, today I want to be hearing from you. Today I want to take your questions and your thoughts. But I want to also remind especially the intellectuals, the professionals, and those in the academia. Many times you seem to be silent, or many times you seem to choose the safe option of being silent. But that option is not going to help you. No, it's not going to help you at all. You have a role to play, a very important role. I am here, maybe I wouldn't, because I'm just trying to entertain people. But because those that we relied on, the professors, the doctors, the engineers, the intellectuals that we thought were the class to think for us, it's until they betrayed us with their silence and their complacency. That's what caused the rise of the likes of myself. So please be involved. You're not any safe when you be silent about matters that matter, about issues that matter in your country. Please get involved. We need you. We need your knowledge. We need your expertise. The country needs you. Finally, and very, very finally, I want to remind you that on Monday, we are having a presence at the Democracy Summit here in Copenhagen. It will be good to have you fellow Ugandans, because this same message is what I'll be delivering to the world and more. So with those few remarks, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to me and looking forward to taking a few of your questions, and I'll share with you as locally as I do back home. Thank you very much. For God and our country.
I know India is here, I know Nancy is here, so I think it was an old thinking. I think we are fully involved, Mr. President. So, who has the first question? Aligo?
Aligo has a question.
All right. Aligo, please forward to them.
My name is Baka. My name is Baka. Thank you, Bobi Wine, for being here. It's the second time I call you Bobi Wine. Thank you for being here, and I'm happy to see you again. My issue is, people power was built on social media, but sometimes you are so quiet, and people take out their propaganda. Some of our people are ignorant; they believe this propaganda. So I believe that once in a while, maybe once in a month, if you would come up and talk to the people, that would help. That would make up something. And then another thing is, when you talk about in your song, freedom, when you say, so I'm representing, I'm the chairman of the Border Association in Europe. So thank you.
you can take another question. This one in front there first. Do we have a microphone there?
Let's take Pastor first, and then
all right. We take one here.
I'm Pastor John Silbega, and my thinking is that the number one commandment in Uganda, and my question was stemmed from that, should be, thou shalt not be surprised. Now, Mr. President, my question is, what can surprise you in Uganda? Seemingly a simple question, but probably loaded. God bless.
You have a question? I'm Emmanuel Komabeng, and I'm from Cameroon. And I'm a little bit panicking because I've met change for the first time when you ran 2001 the first time, and we saw all over social media, and it was like a big inspiration for what could be achieved around like the continent. And we know Cameroon is the same situation. We have Bobi, is 90 years old, 40 years in power. And so a lot of us, like young activists in Europe and Africans, and as a Cameroonian, really look up to you, and I want to thank you so much for the inspiration and to show what is possible. And now comes my question. I know you touched a lot about like the gay rights, and we've seen what is happening from Ghana and also in Uganda with like the bills against gay rights, and you also made you also talked about the funding, which I understand, but I just want to ask you, let's forget about what Europe is doing and just focus on Africans. We know that there are Africans who are gays, and gay rights are human rights. And I want to ask you, if you take power today, are you going to recognize those rights?
I think later, can we have the first three questions first?
Thank you. My brother was asking about social media. Why don't we use social media as much as we used to? One thing that I'll take from you is probably we're not using social media enough. We will, but I recognize your concern. Social media is our only way. I personally keep very busy. As you notice, if I was in Uganda today, maybe I would be posting something or having a live. But I recognize the importance of social media, and I want to send back I won't ask a question, I'll just encourage you. Please do that thing that you're asking me to do. Social media, Muchikube. Use social media as much as possible. Another brother asked about the element of surprise. I don't know what exactly you meant. Surprise, how do we surprise the dictator?
My question was, the first commandment in Uganda should be, thou shalt not be surprised. And then I asked, what can surprise you? Because if a rich person can take, as you put it, iron sheets, what can surprise you? So the question was in that sense.
Thank you very much. We don't get surprised about Museveni's theft, about the kleptocracy. we don't get surprised. We get shocked. Why? Because every day there's a new, it's bottomless. You know, you might be thinking that Museveni has done is the worst. And then the next day he does something doubling what he did the previous day. You know, this is somebody who spent almost all his earlier years castigating corruption, but recently he said, no, don't touch the soldiers who are indicted for corruption. Don't look out for the corrupt official because they will invest their money out somewhere apart from Uganda. So we don't get surprised, although it's surprising. However, we must not get used to it because it's normal. It's shocking. It should be shocking. Although we know he's a criminal, we should not normalize it. Thank you. And then my brother from Cameroon, thank you very much. We share your pains. We know Paul Biya is, I don't know. I don't know, but we sympathize with you also. Africa needs to be rid of dictators. I heard you and I thought I'd spoken about the LGBT question. But again, I'll borrow an answer from one of the African presidents who was asked about the same. President Kagame said, that's not our problem and we don't intend to make it one. And also, on the scale of preferences, if there are many things to give people of Uganda headaches, I mean, the right to life is also disrespected. The right to be a woman, just to be a woman, is a crime in Uganda, according to the actions of the government. So, we don't put one right above others. We've said it again that all human rights should be respected the same. You know? And it is disturbing for the people of Uganda to see the international community focusing only on one set of rights and not these other rights. And it's very easy for a Ugandan to say, but the right to life should be the first right to be protected. Whether you are LGBT or not, why doesn't somebody have the right to life? So when they see the West focusing only on gay rights, they get suspicious. They say, but how can an African president massacre hundreds of people on the streets, and that is not alarming to the international community? They're supposed to freeze the aid. That is supposed to cause freezing of aid. If that is not causing alarm, wagwan. So, we believe that all rights should be respected, especially the right to life. Thank you very much.
We will come back. Let us say, we only have limited time.
Please, there are people behind from behind who has raised their hands first. So let's give them a chance, and then you'll be the third one. You go the first, and then we have a hand here and there.
Hi, Mr. President. My name is Shakira, and I come from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I've been a refugee in Uganda, and I'm a part of many organizations here in Denmark. I work with the Black Lives Matter, and I work with the Trampoline House, and I work with the Bridge Radio. So I would love to ask you, because Uganda and Congo and Rwanda, they don't have freedom of speech. How can we make it the Ugandan not to be killed, to use the platform of the movement in Uganda not to be killed?
We have the next here.
Hi, Mr. President. I'm going to Uganda. I know Oluzungu so doga naye, let me speak Luganda. Abanyagange nze tofaranga mbera mu Copenhagen. Ekibuzo kyange kiri nti mbera ku internet ndaba abantu bangi nnyo nga bakola propaganda nga bagamba nti eno cause mugikola mu ssente. Kati kyembuuza nti kiki kyogenda okukola okustopinga ekintu ng'ekyo kuba abantu kati nze nga nsi okitegeera tulaba adjust abuzabuza abantu naye abalaba basobola kikola ki kukitegeera nga nze bekitegedde kuba lwo nadeke Uganda n'obira ng'olya n'ebintu byayogera nga gulaba bya kisiru naye ng'ate yawulaba kibiriri ng'okitegeera kati mu mbeera bwetyo.
Okay, let me translate. He's asking what the president is going to do about propaganda, because some people are thinking that he's actually gaining money from the struggle. So that was what the question was about.
Yeah.
Hello. My question is about the Western countries sponsoring. You said sponsoring the deaths of people in Uganda. Is it possible to have the evidence to back it up? Because in my head, I'm thinking, if they're the ones sponsoring it and we're going to Hague with Museveni, should they also be prosecuted for their crimes against humanity? Could that be something that we could use in the struggle? Because I feel like what you just said was an eye-opening, because my narrative of how things work has been different. I'm raised here, so the narrative is, as the lady from SM was saying, that they're there, they don't control anything, but they're just there. But if we can prove that they're actually sponsoring it, aren't they supposed to be held accountable?
We are taking two more, and then your time. Two more, and then you can answer.
Mr. President, welcome to Denmark, a free country. Here, no one, disturbs us when we gather. I want to congratulate or thank all the people that managed to organize this. This is really very, 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 very nice to see again. I have been out of this country for many years, but I was the former chairman of the FDC chapter in this country. We started the struggle in this country to fight President Museveni in Uganda, and together with some of my colleagues, the late Kasule and others in Sweden, Samson Mande was one of us. We really put him we gave him a run for his money. My question is, Mr. President, that you cannot do the same thing and expect different results. We have done this before. And I'm not trying to water down what you have done and what you people have done here. It is crazy what you have done. You are an incredible leader. You have shown that. But when President Museveni wanted to change things in Uganda back in 1986, and I was a young man, he picked up guns and faced the fantasy. He went into the bush, he faced the fantasy, he fought Obote. We welcomed him into Uganda. Mr. President, I know you have told the people, I know this question has come up many times, and you have told people, Ugandans, that, listen, do whatever little you can do. We shall dislodge Museveni. Now, you know the international community is not with you. It is not, the international community is not with us. What exactly are you telling Ugandans to do in order to dislodge President Museveni from power? Because we have done this before. Basically has done this. I remember when in our first delegates conference, when we met, and this man fired us up. I came back here in Denmark, and I started mobilizing, knowing that the man was going. The man did not go. He's still there. You are fired up. You fired up these young people. Everywhere in the whole world, they are there. But the money is still there now. That was my question. What exactly are you telling Ugandans to do in order to dislodge Museveni? My second question. There is talk in town that President Museveni is going to launch his son. If there was, in inverted commas, if there was an election, and there was, because there was a gentleman there who said that we've never had a peaceful change of power. If now President Museveni gave the flag or the baton to his son, and he invited you to join him, maybe gave you a position, I know this is not about position, but he gave you a position and he said, come and join me, let us work together in order to propel our country into the future. Would you join him?
Thank you. I think let's stop here, and then next time when somebody is raising a question, make it very short and precise to what you want the president to answer.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My sister from Congo, she was wondering what can be done. First of all, my sister, very glad to see you, Sangonini, Malamu. I don't know if you still speak Lingala or you've been here for so long. Museveni is the problem not only of Uganda, but the Great Lakes region. He has fomented trouble everywhere, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Somalia, Congo, name it. What can we do as people of these countries? Let us fight back in all possible ways. But first, let's start by uniting. I'm very glad to see you here, and I want to encourage Ugandans, whenever you see another African coming, an African who shares the same values with you, please join in. Please join in. We get inspired from all corners of Africa. Today, it's people from Ghana, people like Kwame Nkrumah that inspired us. So, let's come together as Africans. We have a common enemy. That is Museveni. He is the enemy of unity. He's the enemy of peace. He is the proponent of neocolonialism in the Great Lakes region. So let us unite. Let us speak from the same voice. Let's not be divided. When you see a Ugandan or a Sudanese or any other African, they are your brothers, they are your sisters. Fight from your lane, we shall fight from our lane. Always fight from the same platform. You know, whenever Ugandans are uniting to demonstrate here, join them, because it's the same person that's killing your people in Congo. Our military, even not sanctioned by our parliament, but by Museveni and his son. So we have a common enemy. It's important to know that and teach that to anybody that you come across. Luanga wadobuza kanchide mu Uganda. Allow me answer Luanga's question in Uganda. Agambe nti waliwo narrative nti struggle tujikola mu sente. Bajja kwogera buli kye basobola okwogera. Question kati mumpadde sente. But after here, don't be surprised when Uganda's main newspaper, New Vision, which is run by one known Museveni's apologist, will say Bobi Wine was meeting with whites to give him money to destabilize Uganda. He was meeting with homosexuals to give him money to destabilize Uganda. That is what they push. Because they know I have no argument about what I'm saying. I'm saying the truth. I'm saying they are rotting our country, they are selling our country, they are destroying it. They have no argument against my words. So they have to trade lies. Katatena mwe bulimbo mbongerayo muba mbayamba mbasekerere busekerezi kubanga tebayina mulama bannayuganda si basiru. Bannayuganda si basiru tosobola basiruwaza. Ate katulina social media ebiri wano kati babiraba ewaka. Ganda mwe mulaba ebigenda maaso ewaka. So bannayuganda si basiru. ate nammwe kibakakatako. Kati ekyo kibuuzo wandibadde tokibuuza nze naye ngeri gyo kibuuza nze kanaawe kyongereyo nawe ansa gyongereyo tusobole okubuusa abantu baffe ffenna kuba ekisinza otusiba mu buwambe kuba nti batusiba obwongo ate naffe ne tukkiriza ne batusiba obwongo. My sister was asking about the evidence to back up the claim that the West sponsors the dictator. Oh yes, they do. I've just told you our campaign was on camera and cars, Danish aid, Dutch aid, help from the EU, branded, running over our people. But I was speaking in the United States just under 2 weeks ago, and I told them, I put it to them, because the US gives Museveni to the tune of $1 billion every year. Yes, they don't officially say this is money for killing Ugandans. But when you give that money to a dictator who you know is illegitimate, who you know is spending all the national resources to keep himself in power, what are you sponsoring? You're sponsoring genocide, you're sponsoring dictatorship, you're sponsoring oppression. Our call has constantly been, please, we appreciate your assistance, we appreciate your partnership in development, but please put preconditions on the aid you give us. Make the respect for democracy, respect for human rights, respect for the rule of law, preconditions for that aid, then you give it and follow it up. And when you see it being violated, please suspend the aid. The aid is still flowing while the blood on the street is flowing as well. Certainly. Now, that's why I'm speaking to you. Guys, if I, as a Ugandan, was demonstrating here, they would question me. But you guys are Danish. You're Europeans already. Take advantage of those rights that are here and maximize them. You're doing that for the people of Uganda. Hold these governments accountable, because at least here they are answerable to you. This is a question, maybe we'll hear it later. But hold them accountable. You know, the same way the LGBT people are holding them accountable. Do you want to tell me that the right to life is any less? But they are loud enough. Be loud. Be loud about your rights. Be assertive. Put facts there. You will shame them and they will change their approach to Uganda. We want to be having a relationship of equals. We don't want charity. We are not beggars. It should be collaboration. I'm a brother from FDC. This is why some tough questions. You don't I agree with my brother. You can never do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But also the Baganda say, "Adingana maodu yagajamu mokoto." That cold food does not easily satisfy, but when you eat that food again and again and again, I mean, persistence breaks resistance. Water breaks rocks. You know, I understand, my brother. You're asking what exactly should people do, and you gave examples. When Museveni saw what he claimed that the 1980 election was rigged, he picked up guns. I'm a bad boy from Kamocha. I could tell young men and women to pick up guns, and they could. We could shoot the hell out of all those people. But we decided not to embrace violence, because we know violence only begets violence. We've not seen violence bringing fundamental change other than just bombing and shooting one group out of office just to bring another group. So we refused, and the people that inspire us most, they won without violence. So we believe non-violence works, although it's very painful. especially when you're fighting against people that have no morality and conscience at all. So what exactly can we do? That's one question that rings in my mind every time. Sometimes I meet my fellow people, especially the younger ones, I say, man, you either give us guns or shut the hell up. Because we're not going to fight people with guns when we're using words. But we can. To your question, what exactly must the people of Uganda do? My answer is, don't give up. My answer is, keep going. Keep going. If we pick up guns, we would be giving Museveni legitimacy to deal with us violently. This guy has spent 37 years on top of our economy, building a war machine, because he knew that he would not be a Democrat. The best way we can disempower his weapons is to render them useless. And then we take him to a moral line where he has no stand. I can say this without fear of contradiction, that I can beat Museveni in an election anywhere. Anywhere, even in his home. But you won't beat him with guns. Especially not while he's still America's strategic security partner. Not while he's still having the millions of euros from the EU and the millions of dollars in terms of military aid from the US. So let us demystify those weapons. Let us not give up, because our moral stand is powerful. Yes, it's painful. But when we don't stop, we take our struggle to another level and another level and another level. We've seen the Dr. Semogeredes, the Dr. Kiza Besiges. If they gave up, I wouldn't be here. But I'm here because Besige never gave up. And maybe some other people will be there because I never gave up. Of course, I continue telling you that we should be the generation to win. We should be the generation to taste victory. We should be the generation to change things. But that will happen if we don't give up. Don't give up. Museveni is not good. Today, without a gun, he cannot ride and chase a chicken and catch it. So, every factor is on our side. Every factor. Let's just keep doing, each one of us, what we must do. While we are home agitating, the likes of Nubian are in prison playing that part. Be here in the diaspora. I didn't say you should go back to prison. Yeah, and also you asked, so let's not give up. Let everybody play their part. And I'm not also discouraging those that believe that Museveni should be kicked out the same way that he came in. But I am a moral leader. I'm a non-violent leader. Although I believe that Ugandans deserve their freedom and they must get it by any means necessary. Finally, you also asked another annoying question. That if Museveni's son invited me, I rejected the father, the master criminal, and you're bringing me the junior criminal to work with. Museveni's son is as criminal as his father. He has spearheaded and presided over the abductions and killings of our people. So, we have no business with murderers. But again, before even that, Museveni's son calling me as who? As who? You know, he has no moral stand whatsoever to discuss matters of politics in our country. It's illegal for serving military officers to get involved in politics. If Museveni's son is calling me about attending a party and about enjoying a drink, that we can discuss. But about the future of Uganda, that power is in the hands of Ugandans, not of individuals. Uganda is not a monarchy, and I have no business whatsoever with Museveni's son. Thank you very much.
Yes. Just a moment, it wouldn't be fair that you are serving food and don't eat. So, I have a question, Mr. President. Yeah, it can be annoying, but we know that General Museveni, throughout history, he's not someone that you can trust. We know that all the crimes possible have happened under his regime. But we can see what's going on in Sudan right now. So right now, we are we're in the crossroads. One way can go to Sudan, most definitely Sudan way, and another way can go to a prosperous Uganda. My question is, however annoying it can be, have we used all the opportunities to get him to live power freely? In Danish we say, have we used all the opportunities? I know right now, you have the platform. You can pick up a phone and call anybody, and that somebody would listen to you. We know he's good friends with Mao, he's good friends with so many other people, but how far are you willing to go to sit down with him and discuss how we can transfer power from the military to the people?
Yes, then we have a question here.
Hello, Mr. President. I am Damian Ure Samudio. First of all, I have to congratulate you. For me, you have done what you can. But I was going to say, don't give up. But you already said you are not going to give up. But I am going to not my question. Just recently, we have 3 killings by shootings. 2 of the killings are from the guys of the people who are called UPDF people, because they are sad of their problems. What that means to you?
You need to wait. I think this is the next one.
Hello, Mr. President. Thank you for all your work and your sacrifices. You kind of took the air out of my question. Okay, I'll try to ask it in a different way. You mentioned this before about the non-violence, which I believe is right too. You mentioned that it's very painful, of course. But my question is, do you find it challenging to keep convincing people to stay non-violent? When you're facing all that terrible violence that we know the forces of Museveni exposes you to. We all know it. You mentioned Martin King Jr. earlier. I know he had the same experience. It was very hard sometimes to keep that discipline. So my question basically is, do you find that sometimes to be very hard to stay focused on the non-violence?
Thank you. We have 1, 2, 3 here. Okay, your turn.
I just have a short question. In any case, I personally grew up in Uganda. I went to primary school in Uganda and then 2 years of high school before I came to Denmark. That was quite some time back, 14 years ago. So you mentioned earlier that a child who went to, school in Uganda cannot write their name. But if you succeed, in any case, in what you're doing in the future, I just want to know your plan. How can you change the Uganda school system, based on from ordinary level, advanced level, and the primary system of 7 years? How will you make it better for the upcoming generation? to advance in school much better.
Hi, Mr. President. I'm called Gafumba. My question is just brief. With the way how the election went and what you went through, do you still really have faith in the Ugandan Electoral Commission? Thank you.
Yeah, it's actually your turn. You raised your hand.
Thank you. I just want to say that Copenhagen-Denmark and Mellemfolkeligt Samvirke is of course not paying funds to governments. We pay funds to NGO partners who have the same values as us. And there is an open site that is called Open Aid or something similarly, where you can see directly where funds are going. So if you're interested in making a campaign against the Danish government, Copenhagen-Denmark would be happy to support that. I think because we are not afraid of our own government, and we should have the integrity to fight for what is right, and that's why I'm working in this organization, otherwise I will not have my feet here. And then I think it's important, for instance, the Ugandan Human Rights Council, I think that one is supported by Denmark. And it's disgraceful, and it is something that could be a good way in for a campaign from Ugandans in Denmark.
We are taking one more, and then we give the chance for the president to respond.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President. Actually, I call him my OG. I came a long way with him. There are a long story between me and him. In Kamoch and the chairman, and I know how much I finance all the things. I don't want to go in details, but he's my OG. I congratulate you for winning the presidential election 2021 in my absence. Congratulations. I have 3 questions. One question goes to our 2 members of parliament who have been in jail for the last 2 years. That is Aaron Sewanyana and the Honorable Muhammad Sekirinya. 2 years with no case against them. They are now out. We don't know any deal between any European government. What do you intend to do against the government? Because they have been in prison without any case. That's one. The second question is, we know all Ugandans, they are money hungry, especially those who have been in the parliament, and you know whether that have tasted the government money and is in the parliament, it is a poison for him. We have seen many members of parliament being bribed, and they diverted from the mission to other sides. How can you give us assurance that some of NUP member of parliament, when the parliament representing the people who send them there, they are not going to be diverted from the mission that they were sent to and serve the person you are against to? The last question is, elections are closer, 226, and they can see some are allowed to mobilize countrywide. NUP, it looks like it's sleeping. We have not seen the mobilization within the country. What do we intend to do when elections are knocking on the door and you are not showing us any results, whether you are mobilizing, whether NUP is doing something on the ground, and other political parties are moving countrywide? What do you intend to do? Because elections are closer. Thank you so much.
Yes. Hi, my name is Irene, and my question is, it's more like, I feel like on a global level that those in power are very much interested in the way things are, and they are interested in letting the things stay the way they are. So it can be very hard when you hear them mobilize about the LGBT community and make that a very, very now in need issue.
while people are dying all over the world, not only in Uganda, and there are those who are trying to fight for equality, and our voices just don't feel heard. So how do we get the power? We are on social media and everything, but CNN comes out and report a different story than what's actually going on. And all these big, powerful people do not speak on behalf of us, and we do need a bigger voice to get anywhere. So how do we gain power in the way we want it without fight and in a peaceful way? It feels we don't have enough power.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll start with the last question from my sister. Thank you very much. You're absolutely right. Most of the international power structure prefers things the way they are. They prefer not to deal with disruptors like myself. But nothing ever changes unless people are made to feel uncomfortable. Slavery was comfortable. It was very profitable, but not comfortable for the slaves. Colonialism was very comfortable for the colonizers, but not comfortable for the colonized. Racism was always very comfortable for those that benefit from it, but not comfortable for those it affects. Until you show that you are not comfortable, those that are comfortable will continue to be comfortable. Until you can prove that you're not comfortable. And not only that, but make them uncomfortable as well. Let everybody be uncomfortable until everybody is comfortable. Yes. When there was killing in America, the black people all over the world and the friends of humanity all over the world, whether black, white, or colored, they put their fist up and say, no justice, no peace. Okay? So there's either comfort for everybody or there's uncomfort for everybody.
Our power.
So don't allow anybody to be comfortable in your unjustified discomfort. That's the only way. Otherwise, they'll be comfortable with things being the same. Man, me, I've spoken a lot of English on so many platforms. But things are only changing slowly. You know, if the speeches of Dr. Martin Luther King were enough, we would not be saying the same things. But almost 70 years later, we are still there. And if he didn't do what he did, maybe we were the ones in that level. Yes, progress has been made, but we are not where we want to be. So let's keep pushing. At least the world stands largely on the moral side. The world is more moral now than it was so many years ago. My brother, engineer, you asked whether we've explored all means, all peaceful means for Museveni to leave power. I'll tell you, my brother, that some of the things that were said by the great change makers in the past are coming to reality now. When they said freedom can never be given freely by the oppressor to the oppressed, it must be earned or taken. I agree now. We'll have to wrestle our freedom out of Museveni's hand. He will not give it to us peacefully. We've spoken, many meetings have been held, but according to Museveni, he believes anybody and everybody can be compromised. So any kind of conversation with Museveni, according to him, the first question he asks is, how much money do you want? What position can I give you? our attitude and our words continue to tell him that we are not for sale. But for all those dictators, you have to weaken them first. Whenever a dictator is in a position of power, they will never let go until they are weakened enough. That is when they are going to negotiate for their safe exit. We've always been willing to give Museveni a safe exit for as long as he's still moral. But I'm sure a time will come when we also don't want now. So those that communicate to him, either here or online, should communicate to him that he better yields to morality now, because there will be a time when we also don't want to negotiate anymore. Damiano, I don't know if he's the one who asked, why do we stay? No, it's our brother who asked. He seemed to wonder why we stay non-violent, even when we are faced with brutality. And he was asking whether I think it is hard. I don't know. Would you want to substantiate your question?
Not that I wonder why. My question is, we find it hard to convince ourselves sometimes. Is it hard to keep the discipline of the movement and the people on the other side?
Yeah.
To avoid that temptation.
Yeah, I find it very hard. Very, very hard. First, I find it very hard to continue preaching non-violence to people in the face of brutal violence. It's not realistic. And like one time Mandela said that non-violence works when your oppressor has a certain degree of morality. Our oppressor has no morality whatsoever. So that is a very big challenge that we're facing. Many times, and I've said it before, that I feel like a time will come when I can no longer hold back the people that want to get their freedom by any means necessary. So yes, it is very hard, very, very hard to keep preaching non-violence in the face of violence. How do I deal with it? I deal with it because I have no guns. First of all, I have no capacity. We have no capacity personally to get guns, and we also have no will to use those guns. But like I said, that is only us. Many people are beginning to think logically. Even those with the guns. In Uganda, you have seen, while I was taking the questions, my brother Nubian showed me another report in Uganda. A few minutes ago, another security officer has gone on rampage and shot. So shootings are everywhere. Now, these are not our comrades in the struggle. These are police officers and military officers that have always been complaining about terrible working conditions. So yeah, it's hard to keep preaching non-violence, but non-violence is the safest for us now. However, we are slowly but surely holding back on discouraging violence. We don't stand for violence, but slowly but surely, we are stopping the discouragement of the same. Because it's fighting back in whatever means is what is going to guarantee their survival and existence. I would be immoral and wrong to stop them from fighting back the only way they know. Now that is a challenge. It freaks me out to imagine Uganda descending into a Sudan, because it's very possible. This man Museveni does not seem to have a brain. But again, he has more to lose than all of us. He has the wealth that he has looted out of Uganda. So, sorry, that means let's see where it ends. I was asked a very interesting question. Thank you very much, my brother, about education. He's heard us talk about our education system and how it's sick, and how it's not helpful, and how it's a colonial system which was brought to us not to empower us, but to turn us into very usable employees, which creates employees, which creates job seekers, not job creators. It teaches you what to think, not how to think. That education system has been kept by those that rule over us because it benefits them. How do we intend to change our education system? Pick a leaf from the education system in Denmark, pick a leaf from the education systems in Europe, in America, in the developed world. And then don't just transplant it the way it is. No, fit it into our abilities. In my own view, when I'm president, I will put so much focus on the education system to first of all change the way we look at ourselves, change the way we appreciate ourselves and what we have. Our education system will be normally summarized in 4 A's. That's academic, athletics, arts, and agriculture. The academics, without a doubt, we need more doctors, more lawyers, more engineers. We need the athletics, because most of the times when our flags have raised up, it's either athletics or the arts. But unfortunately, the athletics are like a fallback position. But if we train these our talented children right from childhood, I mean, not everybody has to be a lawyer or a doctor. If you start judging the smartness of a fish by its ability or the lack of it to climb a tree, then you're wrong. So let's tap into that. The same thing with the arts. I mean, I am an artist. I'm a different kind of artist from the rest of the artists in Uganda because I got that training from school. We want to create more Bobi wines in Uganda. And finally, without even going so deep into it, agriculture. Agriculture is the hope of Uganda and in many ways Africa. Let us study it. We have better land than Holland. Why are they better farmers? We have the most amiable land in East Africa. Why are we not, the ones exporting ice cream and coffee? And let's go into our agriculture and understand it and then use it. So that in our education, of course, the rest is knowledge of self and knowledge of our circumstances. Changing the mindset completely. That's how effective our education system will be, my brother. I was asked if I still have faith in the Uganda Electoral Commission. I've never said I have faith in the Uganda Electoral Commission. No. Even when I ran for president, I never said I trust the Electoral Commission of Uganda or any institution of state in Uganda for that matter. All institutions are servants of General Yoweri Museveni. When I was running for president, I told you people that I am not running because I know Byabakama is going to announce me winner. Byabakama was the same person who was used to tell lies about Dr. Kizza Besigye, claiming that he had raped his maid. That was Byabakama when he was still a public prosecutor. Now, after a job well done, implicating Museveni's opponent, he was elevated and made chairman of the Electoral Commission of Uganda. What would you expect out of such a person? Why then did I run? I ran because I wanted to use that to expose the system. And that's why I'm here, telling the international community that these guys are wrong and that is the example. That is the evidence. So I have no trust in any institution under Museveni. And no institution functions under Museveni. So it's important, very important, that we know that we are on our own. You wouldn't have hope or trust in the judicial system supervised by Owinyi Dolo. You cannot have trust in the legislature, in the Ugandan parliament, supervised by this woman called Anita Among, the one who stole iron sheets from Karamoja. You cannot trust the police, you cannot trust the military. Those are Museveni's killing machines. But we still stand morally and challenge them. That's why I can afford to say all this on camera, and I'll go back to Uganda and they not do nothing because they know they are criminals. Only question is, why is the international community continuing to fund that crime? That's a question for you, fellow Ugandans, to ask every day, to protest about every day, to hold them accountable for every day. That actually brings me to what my sister said, and I appreciate the guidance. She said that Denmark only supports NGOs, non-governmental organizations. Right?
Actually, Denmark, so there's sector collaborations where you have a health sector working with the health sector, agricultural sector working with the agricultural sector, and we don't know where these money are going, but we know where our own NGO funds are going to our own partner who we trust, who we know the names of, their families, we know we trust them. These are our brothers and sisters in Uganda. But I think it's very important to look for, in general, how the funds are flowing and where to put in your cabinet.
Thank you very much. Did you also mention that there's funding that goes to the Uganda Human Rights Commission?
I'm trying to do a little research on that, but I think that's one of the things. And there was a lot of noise in Denmark because the Danish ambassador went to visit them. He went to visit the Uganda Human Rights Commission office, and she came back and was like blah blah blah, and there was a lot of noise in Denmark because you cannot.
Thank you. You just answered my question for me. I mean, you just gave me the right answer.
Can I contribute to that? Yes, please.
Yes,
I think she just raised a clear answer. I just wanted to tell you all here that I'm a politician here in Denmark, and we follow these things to the single money that leaves Denmark. And there is accountability. Whatever is being, is sent from Uganda through the NGOs is being accounted for, including my own salary. So if there's something to do with the funding that it is not part of the, the government, then these are other organizations, but everything is being accounted for. And I totally agree with that. That was what I was about to say.
Thank you. Thank you. While everything is being accounted for here, allow me to also mention that the only NGOs that can function freely without interference are those owned by regime apologists. And like you said, you don't follow up what they're doing. I mean, non-governmental organizations that are helping the people of Uganda but are not accepting to be used by the regime are closed. Many of them have been closed and others continue to be closed. But I'm very glad you also reminded us that actually Denmark funds the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Now the Uganda Human Rights Commission is another section of torture. I say this without fear of contradiction, and please get me on camera. The Uganda Human Rights Commission is a gross human rights abuser. We have a chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission that has dismissed victims of torture that has supervised over the cover-up of torture that has been used to intimidate victims of torture into silence. They go to report their cases and she advised them to keep quiet. It is the same Uganda Human Rights Commission that I went and complained to in 2018 when I was personally tortured. Personally. When I was illegally blocked from earning a living from my trade. 3 years later, I'm yet to be invited for a hearing from the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Interestingly, the Uganda Human Rights Commission is stocked by, is packed with soldiers and former regime violent people. Recently, there was a complaint by the same chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission saying, you see, my commissioners come to meetings with guns, so I can't order them around. This is a quotation last week from the chairperson of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Little wonder that the United Nations Human Rights Office was chased away from Uganda. It was closed on the orders of General Museveni. So, everything you see is a fallacy. The Uganda Human Rights Commission is a fallacy. It's a joke. It's a lie. And we should call it what it is. And many of the NGOs that claim to be helping Ugandans are only being used to siphon funds from the international community. That's why we continue to call upon the international partners to go deep and follow up and make sure their money is doing what it's intended to do. Otherwise, it will be sponsoring operation. Thank you very much, and I think that would be enough for the quick. Maybe I'll take just 2 more questions.
Yes, we have the last 2 here. These are the last one. Otherwise, no more questions. You go first.
Thank you for all of you. Give big respect to be here. Actually, I'll be different from my brothers and sisters here. The question is not going to the president. The question is going to the coordinators. Yeah. I think after 2020, the vibe was, too much. But after the election, everybody, I think, went back to their base. Where I live from 460 kilometers from here to come here. Yeah, yes. But there's nothing like Noop there. I don't know, maybe the Noop is only in Copenhagen. I want to know. Because what bothers me when we hear we see on the, I'm not good at talking, that's right. But let me try. When we see things like on YouTube that our president is coming, this is going to happen, you give us so little time. Some of us, we are working. We need that time to take off from our work. And some of them are living far away. So I think you should do something more better. So energize the party so we can support. There are a lot of people there who want to support, but the time you're giving us to just to jump on the train, maybe the plane, it's too little. I think it's going a little bit slow. Please help us out to make the whatever to go wider. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is it my turn? So my name is Intende, and I'm so glad to see that you people are here. Comrade Nubian, I was really happy. You touched some points. I don't know if you have lived in the diaspora before, but you touched some points. And one of the points was about unity. And it goes back also to the question you just raised, why NOP is not everywhere. We have an issue of unity, and I hope you keep preaching it when you go to the other NOP communities over here. Then the other comment or question is about finance. Most of us here, something which unites us, despite everything else, is money. No one ever asked if you're making money through this. We have been asked. Ndugu Nsuga was asked about this in FDC. But you inspired some of us, if you didn't know that, to be in public. But what I'm saying is that the unity we are talking about, we need to unite mostly about financial issues. Because as the president has said, the US gives 1 billion to Museveni, and we send 1.14 billion, slightly more than the US to Uganda last year. But that's the minimum we can send. And the problem for the diaspora is that because we are not united, our financial power is so weak that we don't share the information we have. Some members, actually from the committee of NUP here in Denmark, have tried to mobilize people financially to come together, because some people have seen the light of how to make more money here. And people try to share this information, but people don't want to unite. And some people, most of the government will praise you for that 1.14 billion, but India, they send 89 billion back home at the same time. And we can do much more than that, because Ugandans in the diaspora, we are approaching 1 million, including the people in the Arab countries right now. So if you say we are only sending 1.1 billion, that's very little money. We can easily multiply that. And the gospel, I want to add to the NUP gospel. I don't know if it was in the budget proposal from the opposition, which was just presented. I'm yet to read all of it. But mobilizing the diaspora to increase our financial money by uniting, it could be through NUP, it could be through anything. That's one way how we are going to be ready. I think they told us that we need to be ready when the president takes on power. The other thing which I wanted also to mention on, too many things, but I'll put them on. People have been asking, some of us, they think we are elders here. So they say, okay, the President Bobi Wine is telling us, move on, don't stop. Is that enough? And I think it's enough, but the message I think is so brief. People are asking and they're asking, how do we move on, especially for people who are here. What I've noticed and what you have achieved, you said when you come to power, the education system will be about mindset. Actually here you have already done that. You have touched people's mindsets. A lot of young people here, they talk to me, I talk to them, and the mindset is changing. So I think some of them need to be told more that what you've done, changing their mindset, actually bring them, some of them here, some we have never met over here, is to increase their mindset and figure out themselves, to figure out, not to just hear it from you, but figure out themselves. What you touch on, they go and read and do more of this one. But especially the financial part, because there will be more powerful than even the US as the diaspora. And I know this because some members from the other end are trying to come to the diaspora. And young people come and ask me, what should I do? I'm being offered this and this. Should I? So you are powerful. You are powerful. But financially, you are more powerful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Ronald. And my question is a direct attack on our party. Besides propaganda, what measures have you put in place to handle some of our own who have been rumored that they are compromised and they still own the party card and they are decision makers? So it's just a small question, it's among the party. And then lastly, I have a small message for you. And I've sent it through Mr. Henry Chitimbo, who delivered it. It's from somewhere. Thank you.
All right. Florence, I'm sorry, but because of time, we have to stop the question from there, and then he answer these questions.
Thank you, President. My question is, it's not a question actually, it's added to what Mr. Ntene has said, that we need to empower ourselves as a union, as a national unity platform, to find a way to generate our own income. I've talked about it for some time, and this unity also lacks in our party, as one of the ladies said, that it should be done more. We should talk, we should communicate, we should make some things that bring us together to keep the national unity running, instead of just sometimes, I'm sorry, might be me, feel that we were a small group taking all the decisions for others without being informed. I think if we have anything, we should take it out and let the group respond to it, and then we see the outcome.
Thank you very much for that thoughtfulness. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank you for your contributions, your guidance, your thoughts and questions. And just after here, I know some people have been whispering to me, man, we should be taking a selfie. Yeah, never mind. After here, we're going to take pictures, and Nubian will be picking the money from you, the money for pictures. I'm kidding you. Yeah, we'll take some pics just after here. The same pictures that you must keep, so that when I am president, you come and show that picture on the gate to be allowed. Yeah, thank you very much. Most of them were not necessarily questions. Comrade Ntende, Peter Ntende, I didn't intend to expose him, but my brother, everybody should know how high in esteem I carry you. Peter Ntende was the first promoter that brought me to Denmark. Yeah. So please know that we appreciate you, and we remember all those beautiful days. And maybe one day, when the struggle is over, we'll have our happy days again. Now, I hear you about unity, and I could not agree more. I agree with you about the need for finances. Yes, Museveni's son, before us, the diaspora was not taken as seriously. Even me, I didn't take the diaspora that serious. But after you guys saved my life, I noticed, and everybody noticed, the importance and the influence of the people of the diaspora. So if there's anything to remind you of your power, that should be one of the many. And that's why we were even first to come and make an effort to organize. I was saying Museveni's son is making inroads in the diaspora. We all know that for them it's a money thing. How much money do you want to be our coordinator here? Because they know what they're doing is wrong. I'll be shocked to see a person in the diaspora supporting operation back home. Many of you are here because it's not all right back home. And it's not all right because of the thieves that took over our country. Those rebels led by Museveni. Now his son is trying to make inroads because this that we are doing is so hurtful to Museveni. This that we are doing is very effective to Museveni. When we come in the developed world, in a free world where they cannot stop you with their tear gas and bullets and prisons, and we speak the truth, they know that when you go and protest on the street here in Denmark, the Danish administration is going to take it important. And it might influence their programs with Uganda. So they are making an effort to come to the diaspora and also have presence. Of course, if you guys decide to sell out, you will have sold us. But like I said, it would shock me. The people of Uganda who are compromised, who are made to vote for their own oppression by being given 5,000 shillings. 5,000 shillings is less than $2. I don't know how much it is in Danish kronas. 5,000, it could be done. 1 krona? You see? So, somebody is given 10 kronas, somebody is given €1. €1 to buy their vote. And their vote is their life. Their vote means medicine in the hospitals or not. Means there's a road or not. But people in Uganda are paid €1 to buy their vote, to buy their future. You would understand because they've been so impoverished. What explanation will a person living in Denmark give for selling their soul, for selling their country? So, that is up to you, friends. We can only speak, but you make the decision. But at least we want to inform you so that you make an informed decision. And also, so thank you very much, my brother Ntende, for that and for the call of unity. I'll answer this last question. The other questions, the other were like observations, which I'm sure Brother Henry has taken note of, and will ensure that they reach up to all Ugandans and friends of Uganda in all their destinations. Very finally, a brother asked that besides propaganda, how are you dealing with the sellouts? First of all, propaganda is not one of our options, sir. So please don't say besides propaganda. We don't use propaganda. But we also know that everybody is a journalist and everybody has a right. And they'll go on social media and expose. And sometimes they even tell lies. But because we've been locked out of mainstream media, we use social media. How do we deal with the sellouts and the malls? We leave them to the population. They have the money, they have the guns, they are very powerful, but we have the support of the people. I've told all these politicians that I introduced to the people that we shall not cover up for any sellout. We shall expose them. We continue to expose them. You have seen publicly some of the members of parliament that we sent to parliament. People like Kagabo Tuaha. You've seen them, and you've seen them being compromised. Those, we leave them to the population. We just don't stop. Well knowing that there are open malls and hidden malls. But that maybe we'll get to discuss with their constituents, not with the members of the diaspora. So finally, I would have I will ask Comrade Henry to respond to a question that our sister raised, so that we leave here with clarity. Other than that, I thank you very much, and maybe after responding is the one that will call upon somebody who will give us a closing prayer, and we'll go to the pictures. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Whoa. Comrades, I want you to clap for our mama. You're very right. I've been reaching out to you every time we want everyone on it. I still have your number. And even this time, I reached out to you. She came all the way from Olbo. And I remember when I was trying to look for, comrades to come and be part of this. I've reached out to Olbo and I've spoken to a few. And that time when we used to fundraise, I think there were a really good group of people who were doing that. Mama, we also have some young men and women from August, all the way, Mr. President, Ours is about 4 hours a drive. Olbo is about, how many hours? Hello, he doesn't even know he has been here for 30 years. It's very far. I recognize you. And I'll say this in front of the president. Denmark, we have platforms that are for people power Denmark. Everything that happens, even when there's a message from the president, those are the platforms that we are using. I don't work alone here. We are a team. And this team that I work with, we try so much. And every time I reach out to you, it's a decision from everyone. What about Olbo? We need to look for people. So Mama, I want you to do me a favor to tell everyone in Olbo that the struggle is real, that you met the president, and you were a very big number of people, and you are so sad that it's on review from Olbo. I'll help you. I'll come over. If you can, Mr. President, I promise you, next time you come, we can even make this town hall in Olbo. We can even make this town hall in Ouse. It's very possible, but it needs all of us to take the responsibility of reaching out to all our fellow Ugandans and tell them the struggle is real, the road is there, we need to come together, fight it. Together we can, and together we will. People power. Our power. People power. Thank you, Mama. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, I think it's my time. I had a question, but I just wanted to wait until the last minute. Mr. President, I'm really very happy that you are with us today. You responded pretty good to all the questions that have been raised here in this room. And most of us here are really motivated. And I'm very sure that when they're leaving this room, they're going to know that they really got something that they have to walk along. And I like the way you responded to our brother from FDC about not choosing the Biden way, but keep pushing. That shows democracy in you. You want to talk about things, you want to let the people of Uganda to choose, and that is the definition of a democratic politician. I want to tell you something brief. When I was elected for my first term in 2017, before inauguration, I was awarded a weapon by my municipality that I should remember to always think about it in all the decisions that I take. An emblem that means a lot. It says democratic man. And I think you are a symbol of my democratic friend. It means democratic friend in English. So I would like to award you my special weapon to show that you are very democratically. Guys, help me give you, Mr. President, can you come here, please? Give him a hand. You can, of course, still remain standing here. And the last one here is showing that you're my democratic friend. It means also you are my Ugandan #1.